Hey everyone, it's Justin again. In this lesson, we're going to be continuing our exploration of parallelograms. Today, instead of being given a parallelogram and performing calculations based on its properties, we're going to be determining whether or not a quadrilateral is a parallelogram. By the end of this lesson, you will be able to determine if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram. First, you'll complete the parallelogram tests exploration activity in your notes template PDF. Then, we'll complete 2 practice problems. Our first agenda task is actually one for you to do on your own. In your notes template PDF, you'll find the parallelogram test exploration activity. Here, you're provided the 5 tests that you can use to determine if a quadrilateral is a parallelogram. And there are directions for you to explore some of these tests on your own with physical objects. Pause the video here and come back when you're done with the activity. Now that you've had a chance to feel for yourself why the parallelogram tests work, let's take a look at how we can use them. We can use them both to say that yes, a quadrilateral is a parallelogram if it meets the requirements of one of the tests. And we can also say that no, a quadrilateral is not a parallelogram if it violates the requirements of one of the tests. So what will that look like in practice? Take this quadrilateral. Its opposite interior angle pairs are congruent. So it is definitely a parallelogram because it passes test number 3. What if I gave you this information instead? Is this a parallelogram? No, both pairs of opposite sides need to be congruent for it to be a parallelogram, and the left and right sides have different lengths. Since it fails test number 1, it is not a parallelogram. All right, one more. How about this information? Is this a parallelogram? Okay, that was tricky. The answer is actually maybe? We can't tell because we don't have enough information here to pass or fail one of the parallelogram tests. So we just don't want to jump to any conclusions here. Here's one type of question you could use these tests for. Based on the provided information, is the quadrilateral below a parallelogram? We've been given 2 side lengths and 2 angle measures. These side measures are the same, so that does give me 1 pair of congruent opposite sides. These angles that we were given are consecutive, and the only thing my parallelogram tests talk about is opposite angles. So it doesn't seem like these will get me anywhere. Is 1 pair of opposite congruent sides enough to say yes, this is, or no, this is not a quadrilateral? No, 1 pair of opposite congruent sides would mean that we don't have enough information to decide. But maybe those angle measurements are there for a reason, even though they're not opposite angles? Do you notice anything in particular about these 2 angle measurements? They're supplementary, because 112 plus 68 equals 180 degrees. If those 2 angles are supplementary, does that tell me anything? Hey, wait! These are not just consecutive angles in the parallelogram, but they're consecutive interior angles between these 2 lines. And we learned way back in our parallel lines unit, if the consecutive interior angles between 2 lines are supplementary, then what do I know? The lines are parallel. That's from the consecutive interior angles theorem converse. Pause here to read through this theorem converse and refresh your memory if you need to. Okay, I see. So these 2 angle measurements were a very sneaky way of telling us that this pair of opposite sides is not only congruent, but also parallel. Now do I have enough information to decide one way or the other? Yes! This is a parallelogram because 1 pair of opposite sides is both parallel and congruent. This question is a bit different. Which of the following additional pieces of information would allow you to state that ABCD is a parallelogram? We have 6 answer choices, 4 options for additional information, 1 that says we don't need additional information, and 1 for if more than 1 answer is correct. What information have I already been given? we have one pair of opposite sides that are congruent, and one pair of opposite angles that are congruent. On its own, that is not enough information to say ABCD is a parallelogram. So we can rule out answer choice E. Let's go through A through D one at a time to analyze what information they give us. First, A says BC is parallel to AD. That would change my drawing by adding in these parallel symbols. Is this enough information to state that ABCD is a parallelogram? This gives me that one pair of opposite sides are both parallel and congruent. So this is enough information to say that ABCD is a parallelogram. How about answer choice B? AB is parallel to CD. That one changed my drawing by adding parallel symbols here. Is this enough information to state that ABCD is a parallelogram? No, this gives us one pair of opposite sides that are parallel, and the other pair of opposite sides are congruent. That does not meet any of our parallelogram tests, so this answer is not correct. Now that you have a feel for how to handle this question, try answer choices C and D on your own. Answer choice C gives us both pairs of opposite sides congruent, which is enough information to say that this is a parallelogram. Answer choice D says AC and BD are congruent. These lines aren't even shown in my picture, but they would be the diagonals. Having congruent diagonals doesn't actually tell me anything about parallelograms. They would have to bisect each other for the diagonals to matter here. So this answer choice is not correct. So, our final tally is that E is not correct because we can't already say ABCD is a parallelogram. A and C would each be enough additional information to state that ABCD is a parallelogram, and B and D are not. What's my final answer? More than one of these answer choices work because A and C would both be correct. Now you can determine whether or not a quadrilateral is a parallelogram. Keep in mind that you have a lot of prior knowledge about parallel lines that can be useful here. Be sure to stay on the lookout for information in your diagram that may help you recognize hidden parallel sides. See you next time!